My beloved child, your soulmate cannot stop thinking about one thing you did, and the most astonishing part is that you may not even remember doing it. To you, it seemed like an ordinary moment, something too small to carry any meaning. But to them, it became the moment everything changed. They have replayed it in their mind late at night, during quiet mornings, and even in the middle of conversations when they were supposed to be listening to someone else. Your face suddenly appears in their thoughts, followed by that single memory, and every time it returns, they feel the same powerful emotion rising inside them. Don't skip, because what they noticed in that moment revealed something about your heart that nobody else had ever shown them. It was not a grand promise. It was not something you did to gain attention. You simply treated them with a level of sincerity they were not prepared to receive. When everyone else was looking at what they could take, you looked at what they might need. When others overlooked the silence behind their smile, you somehow noticed it. You did not pressure them to explain themselves. You did not make the moment about you. You gave them space, kindness, and a feeling of emotional safety without asking for anything in return. That is the one thing they cannot forget. Your soulmate had spent years believing that love always arrived with conditions, expectations, or hidden motives. Then you appeared and did something so genuine that it disrupted everything they thought they understood about connection. Since that day, they have quietly compared every interaction to the way you made them feel, and nothing has come close. The shocking truth is that your soulmate is not obsessed with the action itself. They are consumed by what the action proved. That your heart recognized theirs before either of you had the courage to admit what was happening. There is a reason this memory has become stronger instead of fading. Your soulmate recently experienced a moment that reminded them of you, but this time, your presence was missing. Someone said the right words, yet those words felt empty. Someone offered support, yet it seemed rehearsed. And in that instant, your soulmate understood the difference between being noticed and being truly seen. You had seen them. Not the polished version they showed the world, not the confident image they used to protect themselves, but the quiet person beneath it all. Something huge is waiting for you, because the realization that followed left them unable to continue pretending that you were simply another person passing through their life. They remembered the way you paused before responding, as though their feelings mattered more than filling the silence. They remembered the warmth in your expression, the patience in your voice, and the way you never made them feel weak for having emotions. Your soulmate has now accepted that the moment they keep replaying was not random. It became the beginning of an emotional awakening they tried desperately to avoid. They pulled away from the memory at first because it raised a question they were afraid to answer. Why did one simple thing from you mean more than years of attention from everyone else? The answer was almost too powerful for them to face. It meant that the connection between you was not built on excitement alone. It was built on recognition. Some part of them recognized home in the way you cared. And now, every attempt to forget you leads them back to that exact moment. Every distraction eventually becomes another reminder. Every comparison only makes your place in their heart more undeniable. But here is the revelation your soulmate has told no one. After that moment, they began watching you differently. They noticed how you treated people when there was nothing to gain. They noticed that your kindness did not disappear when nobody was praising you. They saw strength beneath your gentleness and loyalty beneath your silence. What you did opened their eyes, but what they observed afterward confirmed everything. Stay till the end, because the next part of this truth is what has been keeping them awake. Your soulmate realized that the thing they had been searching for was not perfection. It was emotional honesty, and you carried it naturally. That frightened them because it made their feelings real. They could no longer dismiss the connection as curiosity or temporary attraction. You had touched a part of them they kept hidden, even from themselves. Since then, they have imagined what it would feel like to finally tell you what that moment meant. They have formed the words in their mind repeatedly, but each time they picture standing before you, every prepared sentence disappears. How could they explain that something you barely noticed became one of their most treasured memories? How could they admit that your smallest gesture became larger than every dramatic promise they had ever heard? They are afraid you might not remember it. They are even more afraid that you remember it but never understood its impact. Yet beneath that fear is a growing determination. Your soulmate no longer wants to keep carrying this truth alone. The memory has become too powerful, and the silence around it has become too heavy. They feel that something must change, because continuing to think about you without speaking is beginning to feel impossible. And now the final truth of this moment is coming into focus. Your soulmate is not only thinking about what you did, they are thinking about what they should do next. That single act of kindness planted a question in their heart that has grown stronger every day: what if you are the person they were always meant to recognize? They have started remembering other moments too, small exchanges, unfinished conversations, expressions that lasted 1 second longer than expected. Suddenly, everything connects. What once seemed accidental now feels like a pattern leading them back to you. Don't skip what is coming next, because your soulmate has reached a private decision that nobody around them knows about yet. They want to create a moment where the two of you can speak without interruption, without outside opinions, and without hiding behind ordinary conversation. They want to look into your eyes and discover whether you felt the same invisible shift that they did. They may begin gently, perhaps by mentioning a memory or asking a question that seems casual. But beneath those simple words will be everything they have been unable to say. They will be searching your expression for one sign that the connection was never one-sided. And the once-in-a-lifetime revelation is this: the one thing you did not merely make your soulmate think about you. It changed the standard by which they now understand love. You showed them that the deepest connections do not always begin with dramatic declarations. Sometimes they begin when one person quietly protects another person's heart without being asked. Your soulmate has carried that feeling ever since, and now the memory is pulling them toward a choice they can no longer postpone. They are closer than ever to revealing why that moment mattered, what it awakened inside them, and what they are finally prepared to do because of it. Something inside your soulmate shifted the moment they realized that your kindness had not been accidental. They had tried to convince themselves that perhaps you treated everyone the same way, that perhaps they were giving too much meaning to one small gesture because their heart wanted something to hold on to. But then they began remembering the details they had ignored before: the way you noticed their mood before they said a word, the way your voice softened when you sensed they were carrying something heavy, and the way you stayed emotionally present when it would have been easier to walk away. That is when the truth became impossible to avoid. You had not simply been polite. You had understood them. And now your soulmate keeps returning to one question that grows louder every day: how did you see what everyone else missed? Don't skip, because the answer they discovered has shaken them more deeply than they expected. They now believe that you recognize their hidden emotions because some part of your heart was already connected to theirs. They are beginning to understand that the moment they cannot stop thinking about was not powerful because of what happened on the outside. It was powerful because of what happened inside them. For the first time in a long while, they felt safe enough to lower their guard, even if only for a few seconds. They felt no need to perform, impress, or pretend. Around you, they felt accepted before they had explained themselves. That feeling has become unforgettable. Your soulmate has experienced attention before, but attention is not what they are longing for now. They are longing for the quiet understanding you gave them without demanding anything in return. And the more they remember it, the more they realize that you may have offered them something they had secretly stopped believing existed. The surprising part is that this memory has begun changing the way your soulmate sees their entire past. They are looking back at old connections and recognizing how often they confused intensity with sincerity. They remember people who spoke beautifully but disappeared when patience was required. They remember promises that sounded powerful but never created peace. Then they remember you, and everything becomes clear. You did not need dramatic words to leave a lasting mark. One honest action from you carried more emotional weight than countless promises from others. Stay till the end, because your soulmate recently admitted something to themselves that they had been resisting for a very long time. They realized they were not thinking about you because they were lonely. They were thinking about you because your presence revealed what genuine connection feels like. This realization brought both hope and regret. Hope, because they now know that something rare exists between you. Regret, because they may not have responded to your kindness in the way you deserved. They keep wondering whether their silence made you feel unnoticed. They wonder whether their hesitation convinced you that the moment meant nothing to them. The truth is the opposite. It meant so much that they did not know how to handle it. They had grown accustomed to protecting themselves from disappointment, so when you reached their heart without force, they became overwhelmed. Instead of moving closer, they became quieter. Instead of revealing their feelings, they hid them behind ordinary words. But the memory remained, growing stronger in every space where their courage was absent. Now your soulmate is imagining how differently everything could have unfolded if they had spoken honestly that day. They picture themselves stopping you before the moment ended and telling you that what you did mattered. They imagine saying that your kindness reached a place inside them that had been neglected for years. But no matter how many times they replay the scene, the past remains unchanged, and that is exactly why they are preparing to create a new opportunity. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate has started paying attention to the signs that you may still care. They notice when your energy changes around them. They remember the questions you asked, the pauses between your words, and the moments when it seemed like you were waiting for them to say more. These details are giving them courage. They are beginning to suspect that perhaps you felt the same invisible connection but chose not to push them before they were ready. That possibility has touched them deeply. It means your patience may have been another expression of love they failed to recognize at the time. And now they want to make sure they do not lose the chance that remains. They are thinking carefully about how to approach you, not because they want to manipulate the outcome, but because this matters too much to handle carelessly. They want their next action to show you that they remember. They want you to understand that the moment was not forgotten, dismissed, or taken for granted. Your soulmate is searching for the right way to reveal that what you did became a turning point in their heart. But the deepest revelation is still ahead. Your soulmate has finally understood why that single memory returns whenever they think about the future. It is because you are now connected to their vision of emotional peace. When they imagine a relationship where they can be completely honest, they see your face. When they imagine being supported without being controlled, they remember your presence. When they imagine sharing both joy and vulnerability with someone who will not judge them, their thoughts lead back to you. Don't skip, because the decision forming inside them is no longer based on a temporary feeling. They are considering what it would mean to build something real with you. They are no longer satisfied with wondering from a distance. They want to know whether the moment that transformed them was also the beginning of something meant to grow. Your soulmate may still appear calm on the outside, but internally, they are standing at the edge of a major emotional choice. They can continue protecting themselves and risk losing you, or they can finally honor the truth that has been following them since that unforgettable day. And what they are leaning toward will surprise everyone who believed they would remain silent. They are preparing to become more direct, more vulnerable, and more honest than you have ever seen them before. The one thing you did has become the reason they are ready to stop hiding. It showed them that love does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it enters through one sincere moment, settles quietly in the heart, and changes every decision that comes after it. What your soulmate discovered next was something they never expected to admit, even to themselves. The one thing you did not only stay in their memory, it began influencing their choices when you were nowhere near them. Whenever they felt misunderstood, they remembered how naturally you understood them. Whenever someone made them question their worth, they remembered the quiet respect you gave without being asked. And whenever they considered settling for a connection that felt incomplete, your memory returned like a powerful reminder that they had already experienced something deeper. Don't skip, because this is where the story takes a turn your soulmate did not see coming. They recently found themselves in a situation where they were expected to accept less than what their heart truly wanted. On the surface, everything looked comfortable. The words sounded right. The timing seemed convenient. But something inside them resisted. They could not explain it at first, until that unforgettable moment with you suddenly came back into focus. They realized they were comparing the entire situation to the way you had made them feel, and the difference was impossible to ignore. With you, they never felt pressured to become someone else. With you, they did not have to earn tenderness or prove that their feelings mattered. Your simple action had shown them a kind of emotional honesty they could no longer pretend they did not need. That realization caused them to step back from something others assumed they would accept. Nobody around them understood why they became distant, but your soulmate knew. Their heart had already encountered something rare through you, and now everything ordinary felt painfully obvious. For the first time, your soulmate is beginning to see that their inability to forget you is not weakness, it is clarity. They spent so long trying to silence their emotions because they believed moving forward meant leaving every meaningful memory behind. But some memories do not return to trap a person in the past. They return because they contain an unfinished truth. Stay till the end, because your soulmate has finally identified the truth hidden inside this one. What you did showed them who they become when they feel genuinely cared for. Around most people, they are careful, controlled, and always prepared to protect themselves. But when they remember you, something softer appears. They imagine speaking freely. They imagine laughing without overthinking. They imagine telling you the things they usually keep buried beneath silence. That is why the memory has become so powerful. It does not only remind them of you, it reminds them of the version of themselves they want to become. They are tired of relationships that make them feel guarded. They are tired of pretending that emotional distance is strength. And they are beginning to understand that your soulmate connection awakened a courage in them that had been sleeping for years. The shocking part is that they once believed you were the person who made them vulnerable, but now they realize you may be the person who makes them brave. Your kindness did not weaken their defenses. It showed them that they might not need those defenses forever. A silent plan has now started forming inside your soulmate's mind, and they have told no one about it. They are searching for the right moment to bring up the memory without making the conversation feel forced. They have imagined several ways it could happen. Perhaps they will ask whether you remember that day. Perhaps they will mention something connected to it and watch your reaction carefully. Or perhaps, after all their preparation, they will abandon the careful beginning and simply tell you the truth. Something huge is waiting for you, because what they want to say is more personal than you might expect. They want to tell you that your action changed the way they see you, but they also want to confess that it changed the way they see themselves. Before that moment, they believed they had to hide their deepest emotions to remain respected. Your response showed them that the right person would not use their softness against them. They want you to know that they remember the smallest details. The place, the timing, the expression on your face, and the feeling that remained after you were gone. They may even reveal that they returned to that memory during moments when they felt completely alone. Your presence became a source of emotional strength without you ever knowing it. And now the thought of keeping that hidden from you feels increasingly unfair. They feel you deserve to know that something you considered small became one of the most meaningful gifts they ever received. Yet there is one fear still holding your soulmate back, and it has nothing to do with rejection. Their deepest fear is that too much time has passed and that you may no longer see them the way you once did. They wonder whether their hesitation caused you to close the door emotionally. They wonder whether someone else has already recognized your value and offered you the certainty they failed to give. These thoughts have created an urgency inside them that grows stronger every day. Don't skip what comes next, because your soulmate is reaching the point where fear of losing you is becoming greater than fear of revealing themselves. They are no longer asking whether they should speak. They are asking how soon they can do it without letting another opportunity disappear. The one thing you did has become proof that your connection was never ordinary, and they are finally ready to treat it that way. They want to stop hiding behind timing, circumstances, and assumptions. They want to discover whether the feeling they have carried so privately has also been living inside you. And the once-in-a-lifetime revelation is this: your soulmate has begun making emotional space for you before any conversation has even happened. They are releasing old expectations, questioning choices that no longer feel true, and preparing their heart for an answer that could change everything. Your simple gesture began as one quiet moment, but it has now become the force guiding them toward the most honest decision they have made in a very long time.